Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 7th and tonight's movie is The Innocents. This is a 2021 horror movie from Norway that, despite having the same title, has nothing to do with the 1961 horror movie of the same name. It's sort of like Chronicle, where a bunch of kids get these supernatural powers and the power sort of goes to their heads, except in that one they were like teenagers and in this one they're a lot younger. A few horror movies have talked about this in the past, about how easy it is for things to go south when a really young child is given this ungodly power. There was a Twilight Zone episode about it, a little boy with psychic powers who took over an entire town. And with kids, they do know the difference between right and wrong, but the sort of innate understanding of cause and effect, the long-term consequences of one's actions, that's not quite baked in yet. I'm not worried about the acting because I've said this so many times. Nowadays, if a horror movie has a child actor, that child actor is almost always going to be one of the best actors in the movie. I'm gonna go give this movie a watch. I just finished The Innocents and it was okay. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. The movie focuses on these 4 kids, Ida, Anna, who's Ida's older sister, Aisha, and Ben. They say that Ida is like 9 and Ben and Aisha are probably around a similar age. Anna's older, but she also has very severe nonverbal autism. So Ida almost acts like an older sister to her. Out of the 4 leads, I definitely liked Aisha the best. She was the only one that I would actually describe as a good, nice kid. Anna doesn't really do or say much for most of the movie, so I didn't really get much in the way of character from her. Ida does a lot of both good and bad things throughout the movie, and even though I am very much of the opinion that nurture is more powerful than nature, Ben is straight up just a bad egg. It is implied that he doesn't have the best home life, but this is like Stephen King levels of evil children. A big part of the movie is this fact that this is a very dark, very dangerous situation that even adults would have a very hard time navigating, and these are little kids going through it. And not only does that make characters like Aisha more sympathetic because she's really young and she wants to do the right thing, but she doesn't necessarily know the best way how, that makes characters like Ben a little bit more scary because it's like telling a little kid, if anybody bothers you, if you don't get your way in something, you can make someone go away. I think my only real issue with The Innocents was just the fact that I thought it was too long. It's almost 2 hours, and I feel like it was padded out a little bit. It's my belief that it's always better to leave the audience wanting more as opposed to giving them too much. This is, at its core, a very simple story, and I didn't think it needed to be stretched out as much as it was. It also isn't really that strong in terms of horror or even really suspense because of how slow it was. I didn't think it was a bad movie, I just didn't love it. Okay, now let's talk about some spoilers. One thing about the way that this movie started is that at the beginning I thought that Ida was going to be the main antagonist in this story because she displays some very concerning tendencies, like sticking pieces of broken glass in her older sister's shoes. But soon it becomes apparent that Ben is way worse. It's those cliched things that they always say. It's like, that kid's gonna grow up to be a serial killer one of these days. You know, maiming and murdering of small animals. And I will leave it at that. So this sort of raises the conflict because his psychic abilities allow him to sort of control other people as well as just move things around without touching them. So to him, anybody he sees as an obstacle, he can just get rid of. And while he does display some sort of remorse over some of the really bad things he does, it's also very scary how cold and calculating he can be. He makes some random man murder an older kid that bullied him on the playground. With a thought, he breaks a leg to the point of like a compound fracture. Some random kid who I don't even think he knew almost choked out Aisha before he was stopped by Ida, and then made Aisha's mom stab her with a knife and kill her. I didn't like that because, again, Aisha was my favorite. She was really nice. She, I don't think she had the telekinetic part of the abilities, but she did sort of have an ability to form psychic links with other people, and she seemed very well-meaning. So now at this point, it's down to Ida to put a stop to things, and she doesn't even try asking the adults about it. Obviously, they wouldn't believe her, but even if they did, Ben is so powerful that they wouldn't be able to help much. But with the help of Anna, who is implied multiple times to be the most powerful one out of all four of them, they, I'm pretty sure, kill Ben. I mean, that's never confirmed, but he just sort of slumps over on the swing set and doesn't move, and then the movie ends like a scene later. Once again, I didn't think this movie was bad, but it just wasn't super compelling the way that a lot of other horror movies are. I would recommend The Black Phone over this one, definitely, because that one is a similar situation of kids being put in this very dark situation. This isn't really a coming-of-age story at all, it's just the loss of innocence. That's all I really have to say about that, so I'll see you tomorrow.